Alright, so I'll try to keep this under 5 minutes, and I didn't color mine because I wasn't sure if we were supposed to, just since it was just kind of a rough sketch. But I can go back and add color if needed. I pretty much have the idea of what colors I want to use, and I'll kind of describe that as I go. But just kind of explaining my dream catcher right away. So as far as, and I'll type this up as well, but as far as my understanding of eye steam, the biggest thing that I feel like represents that is just the process of creating the dream catcher. And that eye steam education in itself is a process, and that you have to work very hard to establish connections between content areas and things of that nature. And so just as it is the same with my dream catcher, all of this is going to be a process, especially for someone like me who is very inartistic. But anyways, moving on to the next demonstration is how I've changed as a teacher is reflected in this. All right, so in my dream catcher, you may notice. So obviously, here's the circle. Inside, I have a star, and then behind that star, I have just some standard yarn, kind of interwoven, whatever word you want to use there. Kind of crossing behind it in more of just a standard style. And so kind of my thought process behind that is that the star itself in the front would represent eye steam education, whereas the more standard, basic, whatever you would like to call it, design in the background more symbolizes just that of your standard general classroom type of teacher, okay? And I would even decide to make the star stand out a little bit more by making it a different color yarn. My thought right now, at least, is to, for the background yarn that represents more of your standard style of teaching, make it more something like a gray, probably. I guess I could even go black, but I'm probably thinking gray as of right now. Just and then the star itself would be more of something like an orange, something that would stand out, something that would be bright and stand out and kind of show a difference, something that would show a change. And then, so that would be how I would represent how I've changed as a teacher. Hallmarks of eye steam approach. The star has 5 points. So, sorry, that's my cat trying to jump on the table. The star has 5 points, which would represent the five different elements of STEAM education, as well as there are 5 feathers, which would kind of show the same thing, although the feathers are going to also demonstrate something different, which I'll explain shortly. All right, let's see. As far as the impact of iSTEAM education on my teaching practice, the interwoven yarn in general kind of demonstrates how and represents how the content areas all have to work together, and how that is going to be obviously a challenge, but something that is very, very doable in terms of implementing iSTEAM education. How does it connect to students? All right, the feathers down here, which every good dream catcher that I've at least studied and I've researched online has feathers for obvious reasons. But one of the reasons being that it was believed that the feathers helped trickle down the good dreams from the dream catcher into the head of the person sleeping. And those feathers are going to be different. None of them are going to be exactly the same, just like all students are going to be different and aren't going to be exactly the same. They're going to be unique. And so I figured those feathers could help demonstrate that. As far as the connection to my school, and again, I know it's hard it might be a little difficult to tell just because they're not colored, but these are going to be beads. And some of those beads are going to be red and black because those are my school's colors. Some of those beads are also going to be white, which will show my connection to the community. And because my community has a lot of cotton mills, some that are still functioning for that reason, some that are no longer in service, that have been turned into more antique type of places, but still, that's an obvious connection to the community. And then for the last one, for the connection to outside of my community, I would link the feathers together with a different piece of yarn, and that would kind of symbolize working together hand in hand to kind of create a better world even outside of my community. And this one last thing, and I wasn't sure if we were supposed to implement this or not, But we had an assignment where we had to draw draw a set from either a happy or a sad memory. So I actually drew a happy memory from the location of where I proposed to my wife, and it was on a beach. And so for part of that, I have some shells from that beach, and so I thought maybe I could also use the shells from Driftwood Beach as a part of my happy memory, and kind of allow those to be interwoven in the yarn as well, just in case we wanted to demonstrate or kind of link together an element from that sketch to our chakra, our dream catcher. Okay, so that's what I have so far. Again, I can very easily color it if needed, but for a rough sketch, please feel free to tell me what you think. Thank you.